This episode of the Temporary Uncles podcast is brought to you by the letter Y. As in, why has it been so long since the last episode? And why are we doing this? Hey everybody, and welcome to the Temporary Uncles podcast. We're your hosts, Uncle 1 and Uncle 2.
Wait. When did we agree on you being Uncle 1?
Ever since I became cooler than you.
Can you point to the event that made that so? Why? When and why?
Me starting this YouTube channel.
Is the implication that at one point I was cooler and then you overtook me?
Nah.
Is it like how in prep I was one of the tallest kids in class?
Really?
And then I just stopped growing after age 6.
Yeah.
I sprouted no more.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the fuzz on my pubis.
You mean your face?
Yeah.
Get wrecked.
Yeah, I was put together funny. That's why I look the way I do. That's why that organ is so prominent in the middle of my face. There's actually a wee.
You pee out your nose?
You've seen it.
Yeah.
That's why my hair's always wet when I come out of the toilet. Because I have to take a handstand in the urinal.
So you pee upwards out of your nose, so it shoots out like and it arcs into the toilet.
Yeah, well, if I just crouch down, if I bend, it hurts my back. So I support...
You could just like lean over it and let it fall all the way from your nose.
I've tried. It gets all over the walls. It's a real mess. And also, it looks like it just looks like I'm sniffing.
You'd look like the guy from that one episode of Round the Twist who makes ice cream out of his nose.
Oh, I actually know what the name of that episode. It's called The Iceman Cometh.
Oh, yeah. No, is it The Iceman or is the Ice Cream Man Cometh?
Maybe.
Because The Iceman Cometh is I think, like a novel from ages ago.
Yeah, I thought that phrase, "the something man cometh," was like a biblical reference or something.
No, I think the Iceman cometh is something...
So originally the narrative is about an Iceman. And he's cooler than the both of us. So really, he should be Uncle 1.
Yeah.
His delicious chocolatey flavours that is bequeathed from his schnoz.
The Iceman Cometh was a play written in 1939.
Is that about, like, Top Gun?
No, it's about gangsters.
Great.
Yeah.
The boys went on a boring tangent about Round the Twist that wasn't funny, and also Ben said some racial slurs, so we bring you forward 10 minutes into the future.
I want to know, is there an English-speaking community somewhere in the world who says potato reliably?
Like, there are, like, some places say tomato, some places say tomato, but nowhere in the world does anyone say potato.
Do you want to start that? Do you want to just teach our children wrong and just go and make and this vegetable is a potato?
Yeah.
And they get to school and they hear, tomato, potato, and they go, oh, well, that's fine. Potato is a perfectly valid pronunciation.
I want to know where that saying comes from, because I'm sure there are other vegetables you could have said. Like, you say tomato, I say tomato. You say banana, I say banana.
Yeah, but banana doesn't rhyme with tomato.
No.
Potato. I'm sure that they.
You say tomato, I say tomato. You say tomato, I say tomato. There, now it rhymes.
Oh.
And what if the whole song was just that? He just repeats, you say tomato, I say tomato over and over again.
And after 3.5 minutes, you've really driven home that some people vary on how you say that red. Fucking nightshade-esque.
It's like those songs where they just repeat the one line over and over again. That, like, there are versions where someone edits the song so that the one line is the same over and over.
Oh yeah, like, you were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar. Or
that one by I can't remember who did it, but it was there's like an edit of like
I want to get away.
The years stop coming and they don't stop coming, and the years keep coming and they don't stop coming, and the years keep coming and they don't stop coming. It just keeps going like that.
Yes. What's the Lenny Kravitz song that Neil does?
Neil did the I want to get away.
Oh,
well, I wish that I could fly, that I could fly, that I could fly
like a dragonfly, like a butterfly.
Yeah. And then there's the one he did of he changed the lyrics of Eye of the Tiger, so they keep saying tiger a lot.
Oh.
Like every line ends with the word tiger.
That sounds very funny.
Yes.
I'm amused by the thought of it, because that's not the right
That's
one.
not how the song goes.
I've heard the song before.
Oh, his edit of Prince's Kiss, but instead of kiss,
Piss.
he says piss.
Oh! Ah! Is that how? Is that how?
I'm
it
sure
ends?
he.
It goes, oh!
I'm pretty sure he makes the sounds oh and
Ah!
somewhere in that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been listening to a lot of Prince. He makes a lot of noises in his songs. It was one song because I've been listening to his albums in order over the last couple of days. I'm now 4 albums in like I think 20 something album discography, maybe 30 something, I don't know. But yeah, when I was listening to Controversy, there was a song that basically just has him making sex noises, like in the second half of the song, and I can't remember what the song was called.
Well, he was a sensual dude. He was all into.
Yeah, and it's really like interesting listening to the music and how sensual it is, and then remembering that he's like my age when he's doing like his 3rd album, you know? Like, because he was 19 on his first album, and then he just makes an album every year, like a lot of artists do and did at the time. And it's really interesting to think that, like, when I was listening to that 3rd album, the one that, like, it's really good and, like, there's lots of praise for it, and I'm thinking, this guy's the same age as me.
Yeah.
And he's, like, reinventing pop music.
Yeah, I mean, like, my understanding of it is that in Minneapolis, there was this particular sort of heightened funk sound, and you get, like, horns and synths and stuff, and that was sort of the era. People were playing that kind of music, and Prince was one of the better people that did it. So it's not like he reinvented the wheel, but he was really, really good at what he did. It's like how the SNES improved on what the NES did. It's all 2D stuff, but it's a super heightened version of it.
Yeah, but also he was doing things that other people weren't doing as well. Like, not just the whole synth thing, but he was using synths in a way that a lot of popular American artists weren't using synths. It was a lot less pop, and it was a lot more funk. And it was very, very sensual, which, you know, wasn't really the norm for male artists, especially. Maybe female artists in the 80s, like Madonna and stuff. But male artists weren't usually that open with their sexuality.
Well, because he was a very thin kind of effeminate dude, and like his symbol was this like weird, you know, gender is fluid kind of symbol, and he was all about sort of getting down.
He was all about blurring the lines between feminine and masculine.
So
Mr. Steal Your Girl while I wear her high heels.
Yeah, it's like he's a cross between like Marvin Gaye and David Bowie. He's this sort of near androgynous, really sexual dude, but he's still like, I'm gonna fuck you.
Yeah. It was actually there's quite a big shift between his 2nd and 3rd album. I guess maybe once he turned 21, he started being less romantic and more sexual.
Okay.
Like his first 2 albums, they're much more like romance and like storybook romance, very like, you know, white picket fence, cloudy blue sky.
And then he had his first beer, and the 3rd album came out.
And then he's all like leather and sexy pants and stuff. Like, I mean, literally his first... I think the first album didn't... It was just a picture of, like, him with, like a bright light or something. Yeah. And then the second album's him shirtless with a nice blue sky in the background. And then the 3rd album is him, like, in his underpants with a jacket on, being sexy. So,
all bulge.
You know,
it's just, look at my package.
Yeah.
Well, maybe having a friendlier kind of, like, you know, I like you girl kind of approach is friendlier, and it's more... It's.
I'm not saying he wasn't sexy in his first 2 albums. There's literally a song called Soft and Wet, so...
But it's easier to be accepted if it's mostly about, you know, hey, I think you're neat, as opposed to, hey, do you mind if I slip a thumb in the back as well?
Yeah.
It's
yeah, exactly.
There's lots of different ways you can go about stuff. Like, you know, the Beatles eventually sort of went down some weird pathways, but they started off with balladry and sort of, you know...
I feel like
This Boy Loves You.
The late 70s and early 80s was a really good time for, like, androgynousness.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
But then somewhere along the line, it started to just stopped being cool.
1993.
Yeah, in the 90s and the early 2000s, but now it's starting to become cool again. A lot more artists and even just YouTubers and other people in the media are just becoming more and more open about sexuality, you know?
Yeah, I mean, well, people got kind of weird with it in the 60s where it was all free love and try whatever with whoever. And then in the 70s, that was, I don't know, a mid-period between that. And at the end of the 80s, you had hair metal. So it was a lot of men wearing lipstick and heavy makeup and huge hair.
Yeah.
And then grunge happened and they rejected all of the theatrics that had to do with that. So it then just became wearing denim and plaid.
And now everything's a mix of everything else now. You know? Like there aren't really as defined barriers between stuff like that now because you can get people doing grunge music who look like David Bowie, you know?
I'm sure.
Yeah, and vice versa. People who are all like just looking like they would make heavy metal, and then they make like really nice pop music.
Yeah, well, because now the avenues through which you can hear music is wider, like with Spotify and with YouTube
Just
and SoundCloud and all that. You can hear whatever whenever you like. You can think, oh well, what's the sort of a genre that I might like to listen to, and you can search that.
Yeah.
Whereas previously it was all packaged for you. So in order for someone to work out what it is that they might like, you had to group things more distinctly. So you go, I want to hear metal, I'll tune into the metal radio station.
And I'll browse through the metal section at the vinyl store.
Yeah, because it was otherwise how would you find anything?
Yeah.
It would be difficult but nowadays everything is a mishmash. Well, at least it can be.
And not just with music, everything in general, because everything is becoming so much easier to find. People are finding it much easier to find their audience.
Yeah, well, we've got greater levels of communication, so it's even less about, oh, this is an American thing, this is an English thing, this is an Australian thing. It's now just, all right, well, if we can communicate with each other, we can swap ideas. Yeah. And that's what memes are the trading of ideas.
Yeah.
And it's like a big in-joke across many nations. And it doesn't have to be only Australians get this, even though there are some things. But there's less things that are only segregated to certain populations.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, you know, stuff like anime is becoming even more popular now in Western culture than it was in the 90s when it was still pretty popular, but it was very niche.
Yeah.
So it was niche, but the people who liked it was popular. You
Yeah.
know? But now, like, heaps of people watch anime, including, like, normies, for lack of a better word. There are certain anime shows that everyone's seen.
Yeah, because as there's increased communication, increased homogeneity, then you can have more things that each other previously separate cultures can recognize and appreciate.
And ideas are going back and forth. So, like, we had heaps of stuff made by America that took ideas from anime, and now anime is starting to take inspiration from the West. Like, something like One Punch Man is very, very rooted in superhero tropes of Western culture, while also making fun of the shonen genre in anime. Or something like Panty and Stocking, it looks like a Nickelodeon show. It doesn't look like an anime.
I don't know. Like, so is Panty and Stocking made in
It's a Japanese show, yeah, but it's made to look like a show that would come from something like Cartoon Network.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't watch that much Cartoon
like,
Network when I was
But
a
then
kid.
there's something like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was made around the time when a lot of American creators were fans of anime, so that's why something like Avatar: The Last Airbender looks like an anime.
But is it not?
No, because it's American.
Oh, okay.
Anime is literally the Japanese word for animation.
Right.
This is another transition.
You could call Inglourious Bastards a grindhouse movie as much as you could call it a prestige drama, you know?
Yeah, I suppose, well, there are elements of it that are, you know, really over the top and dumb, like, you know, like when they kill Adolf Hitler. And and it's like a papier-mâché model, and he's just mash. He's in the floor. They're shooting him.
It's
Swiss
like cheese.
40 seconds, just... But there's also hugely terrifying interrogations where you've got, you know, someone who is representative of a murderous regime looking at a peasant and going, are you trying to harbor enemies of the state, and the consequences of you doing so are, I will kill your entire family. Now tell me. And that's, you know,
yeah, exactly.
And how do you marry that with something that's, you know, they've got a character called the Bear Jew who plays baseball with heads,
and he's
of
played
the
by
enemy.
Eli Roth.
Yeah.
Who apparently originally he was going to be cast as Adam Sandler, but Adam Sandler was busy.
Adam Sandler was I don't know. Like,
I reckon he'd pull off the Bear Jew.
Well, I don't think Adam Sandler's that big, so I don't know if there's anything bearish about him.
He's supposed to be quite tall, actually.
I'm sure that he's, about average for a man, but Eli Roth is like 6'3". Like, the Bear Jew was going to be a young soldier. Adam Sandler looks like himself. He looks like, a pudgy comedian in all of his roles.
Have you seen what he looks like in Uncut Gems?
Yeah.
All they had to do was give him glasses and a goatee, and he doesn't look like Adam Sandler anymore. Which is interesting.
I mean, he looks like a distinct character, but he still looks... He looks
but
like
he doesn't look like Adam Sandler. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like the comedy guy. He
He
doesn't
doesn't
doesn't look like the same character he plays in every other movie.
No, he
Which is
doesn't look
funny
like Adam Sandler from Grown Ups.
Yeah, which like all he need. I reckon it's probably helped him with playing the character just to look a little different.
Yeah.
You know? Like Orson Welles, he would often just put on a false nose for a lot of his parts, and immediately he's not Orson Welles anymore. You know.
But like Adam Sandler can be different things. He can be a golfer. He can be a dad.
He's still Adam Sandler in those movies.
Yeah.
You know, like even in Punch Drunk Love, the main difference between that and other Adam Sandler movies is not the way he looks, but the way he acts.
But imagine that Adam Sandler is a hand-picked soldier in the Second World War. Can't see it. And this is like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So Adam Sandler's already 40-something, and he's meant to be this young guy who's there solely to fuck up Nazis.
I don't know if he's supposed to be this young guy. Like, I'm sure if Adam Sandler played the character, we wouldn't be saying that Adam Sandler couldn't play the character. Because if he's being directed by Quentin Tarantino, I'm sure he probably would have given a better performance in one scene in that movie than he would have in the entirety of Jack and Jill.
Yes, well, of course, yeah, but I don't know if I could look at him and think, this is a scary guy who's going to hurt the enemy. He looks like a guy who's going to be there for shtick. And he can definitely do serious things.
I don't know.
But he's usually serious in like melodramatic dad drama.
In a lot of movies, he gives off the vibe of someone who could blow up at any minute. Have you seen Anger Management?
I've seen bits of it, yeah.
He gets really angry in that movie, as you could probably tell by the title, and when Adam Sandler yells, he's got this very, very just angry voice, and sometimes it's funny. Sometimes when he's angry, it feels threatening just because of the way he yells. In the movie Punch Drunk Love, he's very threatening in some bits just because the character he often will lose control and just punch a window.
Yeah, I mean, he can be aggressive. He's definitely played aggressive characters. Like, Happy Gilmore is all about a guy who cannot control himself.
Yeah.
But he's still a goof. No one looks at it. No one's looking at him thinking, okay, this guy is a genuine threat to... It's not like Dolph Lundgren losing his shit.
There was his character in the Meyerowitz stories, which I watched quite recently, it was very interesting seeing Adam Sandler in that movie because he plays the character really low, down to earth, just kind of chill most of the time. But then when he blows up, He's very angry, and you could. There's just really good synergy between him and Dustin Hoffman, who plays his dad in the movie, and it really felt like they were father and son because of just the way that they take after each other. For you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it was, but then adding Ben Stiller as his brother, they didn't feel like brothers. They felt like Ben Stiller and Adam Sandler in a movie together. But Ben Stiller and Dustin Hoffman worked together really well in that movie.
I think people just work well with Dustin Hoffman because he's lovable and a great actor.
True.
And he looks like my Uncle Len.
I'm sure Dustin Hoffman's one of those actors where his talent just bounces off anyone in the room. So him being there immediately helps everyone else. Probably. I don't know. He was in Dick Tracy, and I wasn't expecting him to be in that because...
Is he recognizable in Dick Tracy?
No. The only actors who look like themselves in that movie are...
Madonna?
Yeah, Madonna. Because even Warren Beatty, I couldn't tell if he had prosthetics on or not.
Okay.
I couldn't tell if Warren Beatty just had like a little extra chin, you know?
He just got heavy for the film.
Well, no, not necessarily heavy, more... like as in strong jaw, not fat.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, extra chin as in like defined.
Like
Because he's like the hero in the movie.
like fucking Ash.
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, I was searching for his name. All I could think of was the chin. I didn't,
Yeah.
and I felt that given the context of what we were talking about, you might think that I was referring to the structure as opposed to
No,
the man.
when you said Ash, I was like, well, why the fuck is he bringing Pokemon into
Yeah.
this?
I'm referring to a 10-year-old anime character
who's been 10 for 20 years.
with a triangle face and a yellow rat pet that assaults people.
Yeah. One anime character with a very strong chin is the first 3 JoJo's.
Great. I don't understand because I don't.
Because I've been watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Have you?
Epic segue.
I never would have
Alright.
known that you were watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, Nicholas.
JoJo is one of those shows that when you get into it, you don't shut up about it. Because I think this is a trend with every other JoJo fan I know. That like the people around them dread whenever they bring up JoJo.
Yeah. Because I'm usually then treated to sort of 15 to 20 minutes of like incomprehensible, unfollowable
Lore.
synopses of episodes that outside of their context appear to make no sense. But
mean-
Nick assures me that they make some sense when you
Yeah,
watch it.
see, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is one of those shows where literally anything makes no sense out of context. Like, you could take just any single minute clip of that show and it wouldn't make any sense. Even just a clip of exposition would not make any sense out of context. But then when you watch it in context, it's still very bizarre, but it's very like nonsensical, but yet it works. You know, the slogan of the show is just "It works." It just works.
I mean, for example, I want to tell you about some of the things that Nick has explained to me,
Yeah.
and how
Well,
I
okay.
digested.
I want you, a man who has never ever watched or read JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and has only had it explained to you by me. I want you to explain what the general story of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is.
Okay, so the bits that I can remember is that in the first season, it's like a vampire-themed drama, and there were these 2 people who, so they grow up in like Victorian England, and they were friends, and then they're not, and one of them's a fucking vampire, and there's like, and then one of them ends up like stealing the body of his friend, who's then an old man, and the person whose friend was has a kid who then fights the guy who stole his dad's body, and for the first couple seasons they don't have a fucking defining trait that everyone talks about, which is the stand. They have another thing, which is just another kind of innate force ability that ends up in a bunch of Japanese shows and based on tarot cards, and then they have to go to Egypt to like resurrect the guy to kill the thing who stole the man's body, who's got the head, and everyone's named after a song, and they keep getting litigated, so they have to change all the names of the songs, and they go to England and Japan and Italy, where there's a fucking English, Japanese, Italian guy with great hair who's very effeminate but not gay, and don't make fun of his hair, and then there's a girl, just I don't know, because they felt like it, and they've got the bad guy who stole the guy's body went to Egypt and fucking what, has got to kill all the people related to the other guy who he was friends with, who he stole the body of, and I don't know. Is that it?
Almost. Yeah.
Do you understand why when Nick tries to tell me about an episode, it's like, okay, so this one isn't a vampire drama, it's in a different country, and it's about tarot cards, and then everyone's got an imaginary friend that kills you, and if you kill the imaginary friend or the person, then they both die, and they've always got some random ass Deus Ex Machina uncontrollable ability, and what is the purpose of any episode in it?
Often while I'm watching the show, I will just message Ben on Discord, be like, "Oh my fucking god, this stand is named after this band or song or whatever," right? That's often the main reason why I message you about it. It's just just because you are, I know you're familiar with this band or song or album or whatever, and I'm just like, bro, this fucking stand is called Echoes, and there's a second one, so it's Echoes Part 2.
Yeah.
You know? Or, like, this guy's called King Crimson, and he's got a sub-stand called Epitaph. And in the English version, they change it to Emperor Crimson and Eulogy. Ruler Red.
I love the Dirty Deeds one. What was it?
Oh, yeah.
Unthinkable acts done at a
the weird thing is,
price.
it's not even anime that changed it. It's like, I think, just a translation of the manga, because that hasn't been turned into an anime yet. There's 8 parts in the manga, and 5 in the anime, and we're waiting on part 6. Part 8 still hasn't been written yet.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's a villain yet.
And the fact that they changed the names, like, in the sub, like, you can listen to the show and they will say the words that they change.
You will hear them say Oingo and Boingo, but the subtitles say Zendata and Menata or whatever, you know?
That's a police album!
Yeah, you'll hear like, Sticky Fingers! And then in the subtitles it's Zipper Man. So... Which, honestly, is a better name for the sand because its power is zippers.
Yeah. Because is it like Sticky Fingers is just it's because they're like the Stones have got an album where it's just like a dude's like lower area, so and his flies undone, so he's Zipper Man.
Yeah, I mean there are stands where the original name works better, like Crazy Diamond works better than Shiny Diamond.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Echoes is better than Reverb.
Yeah.
But then there are ones where the changed name is actually better than the original. Like, White Ice is a better name than White Album.
Yeah.
Because naming a stand whose ability is making ice, and you call him White Album. And then, yeah.
I mean, like,
Vanilla Ice is it's just a cool name for a character, and then they change his name to Cool Ice. Yeah.
I can see that, like, the guy that writes it has...
I mean, yeah, and he wrote this shit in, like, the 80s and 90s. So, you know, the copyright wasn't as asked upon as it is now, you know? And you'll find that probably in English dubs of the... What's funny is that I think there was only an anime version of Stardust Crusaders and Phantom Blood, so there wasn't really that much copyright infringement in those ones. So I'm sure English dubs of those probably didn't really change much, especially considering the animes of those are made in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these ones are made now, so that's why the copyright is being changed up.
Yeah. But with the naming of characters and stands and things after songs and all that, I can see that the guy who writes it has a huge appreciation of lots of music, and to Japanese audiences, depending on their English comprehension, a lot of these names are just noises. Like, Echoes Part 2 just sounds like... That's
Echoes!
just
Act 2!
That's just a noise. Like, if we started naming things after Japanese words, which occasionally happens, we just hear that as a sound, and then we associate whatever it is with that sound.
Exactly.
When English speakers hear the name
of things... A character
things,
called AC/DC.
Yeah, like, you can use... There's lots of things in music that you can use. You can take lyrics, and you can take band names, and you can take songs, and... Some of these things are perfectly acceptable because they will be names.
Well, some of them are fine because, like, King Crimson, that just sounds like a cool name.
That's perfectly fine. That's
and something like Crazy Diamond, he's not called Shine On You Crazy Diamond, he's just called Crazy Diamond, you know?
Yeah, that's all. That all makes sense.
Hell,
but when you go,
Echoes works because its ability is making sound. So,
but like Echoes Part 2 sounds fucking stupid.
But then there's an Echoes Act 3, and there isn't an Act 3 of...
No, there is no.
And Echoes is, I think, the first stand in JoJo to be given a second version. It molts its skin and evolves into a new form, almost like a Pokemon. And it's Act 2 and Act 3, each with it bringing in a new ability. And the cool thing is, he can call upon a different act depending on the ability he needs. So it's not like it's Act 3 and that's it. He only has that one, because Act 3 only has the ability to make things heavier.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how that has a relation to sound. And then there's something like Tusk, Act 1. Tusk, that's fine, because Tusk is a word.
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac just happened to name their song Tusk.
Yeah.
Yes, The Stand is named after the Fleetwood Mac song, but Tusk is fine.
Yeah, that's usable.
But then
fine.
you have a villain called Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap.
Yeah, that sounds dumb.
Which, I mean, like, it's been shortened to... the abbreviation is D4C.
Yeah.
So D4C.
I mean, you could have, like, a business that they walk into.
Just call him Dirty Deeds.
Yeah.
You know?
You could call him...
And that way you don't have to change his name to Filthy Acts at a reasonable price.
Yeah. You could call him, Dirty D, and that's a reference. Or you could.
Well, no, Dirty Deeds works for the character because it's a villain, right?
Okay, yeah, but
I mean, the villain's name is Funny Valentine, but
that's also sounds dumb. But I suppose that it's hard to, if you're not a native English speaker and you haven't grown up with all these songs, it's hard to work out, well, what's an acceptable use of this that isn't going to sound funny to an English speaker?
I mean, there's a stand called Foo Fighters in Part 6. Literally, all Iraqi would have needed to do to make it sound more like a name is get rid of the S at the end and just call him Foo Fighter. Because then he is a Foo Fighter, right?
Yeah.
And then he names him Foo Fighters and it just sounds silly. I don't even know what the English version of that name is. What the copyright free version of that name is.
UFO a fighter.
Yeah, there's and then there's the new part H, which I don't even think has any specifically changed names because I just know that Josuke's stand is called Soft and Wet after the Prince song.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a, like I don't know, rubbery and moist or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Soft and Wet makes sense because he's a sailor.
Squidgy and clammy.
And his ability is to make bubbles.
Okay.
Right? I love how...
Bubbles are soft and wet.
I think one of the things I love about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, not just how fucking crazy it is, and the fact that it manages to stay within the bounds of its threadbare logic.
Yeah.
But, like... The unique abilities are just, they're so creative. There's stuff that you would never see in anything like any other normal superhero show. In a lot of shows, even in like X-Men comics, generally a lot of the abilities you'll find are just already done, or they're done so well in X-Men that they've become like normal.
Yeah.
So like laser eyes or invisibility or going through things or like turning into rock or whatever, like, normal things. And I find that whenever the Japanese take on the superhero genre, you find a lot more creative powers and abilities and stuff in those than you do in Western superhero fiction. Like, My Hero Academia has a lot of crazy abilities that you'd never see. There's a character in My Hero Academia who has headphone jacks on her ears, and she can plug into things and make like shockwaves, right? And she can listen through walls with them.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. And you have characters in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure like who can stop time. That's like a not a super crazy ability, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But then you have the character, the lead character in Part 6, her stands ability, and because the stands ability can sometimes affect the user. So her ability is to turn into string.
Right.
The character, fucking the most badass character in Part 5's ability is to create a zipper on any surface. And like, when you hear that out of context, that he has the ability to make zippers on any surface, it just sounds silly.
Yeah.
But it allows him to escape from anything. It allows him to extend his arm. It allows him to cut things in half and then put them back together. So if your arm is lopped off, he can then zip your arm back onto your body. And then once it's healed, he can just get rid of the zip and your arm's back on, right? And yeah, I never would have thought that Bruno Bucciolati would have been my favorite character, but he is, because he's a fucking badass. Because not just in the fact that he has this ability, but he uses it in such a versatile and crazy way, you know? And also the character himself is just really badass.
Well, I suppose that if if the name of the game in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures is fuck it, there's no rules, then it encourages you to be creative. Because if you come up with a premise like, I want zippers, you don't have to then go, oh, well, actually, nah, you couldn't do that, wouldn't work, because that rule doesn't
something like
exist.
Something like that wouldn't work in X-Men, right? A lot of the characters in My Hero Academia, a lot of their powers wouldn't work in X-Men, because X-Men has this whole thing about the fact that all the abilities are innate in your body.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, sure, earphone jacks on some, she was born with those, right? And
Yeah.
she gets them from her mum. Her mum has the same power.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because quirks are a much more modern thing, technology is also becoming part of quirks. So they've noticed that more people are getting quirks that have technological aspects to them. The character Ida, instead of having normal super speed, he has engines in his legs. So, you know, it's really cool and unique. These are things that you wouldn't find in X-Men because they have a specifically biological use for their powers. So the closest thing would be a guy who can turn his skin into metal, you know?
Well, I mean, Wolverine is like some of his powers aren't entirely him. Like his adamantium.
Well, his adamantium skeleton was
given to
grafted
him.
onto him. Well,
Yeah.
that's different, though.
Well,
he
it-
wasn't born with the adamantium
But
skeleton.
he could heal himself as a given, wasn't that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Well,
like the guy with the engines in his legs was born with the engines in his legs. So yeah.
or perhaps it's just a cultural thing. Maybe it's a values thing. Maybe
I mean,
maybe
I think just in general, Japan just happens to just get away with making more creative stuff. I think because they don't take themselves as seriously as American artists do. A lot of American artists working on sci-fi will try and take it a lot more seriously than the Japanese will. But through letting go of pretentiousness, the Japanese managed to make their work hold more weight. I don't think I've been as emotionally engaged to characters in an American cartoon as I have to characters in anime. Because somehow, even though these characters and abilities in this world is so outlandish, the emotion is still real. So when a character like is dying and giving his dramatic final speech, I've been invested in his character for the last however long I've known him, and I feel emotion. But for something like like the closest thing to that would be depressing episodes in otherwise comedic American cartoons. So something like when Futurama does an episode like Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
You know?
Because my thought is partly in terms of values and in cultural differences. I think that the West, largely being an individualistic society, it's about the individual. It's about the person. That maybe a power to them is more impressive if it's ingrained in the person. Like, they haven't got any help. They haven't got a machine. It's they themselves are special.
Yeah.
And so therefore, they're good.
That's why I think Asian action movies are considerably more tense than American ones, because in Asian ones you'll find that the person begins at the lowest that they could possibly have been, and they work their way up. Whereas a lot of time in American action movies, the character kind of just stays the same most of the way through.
You reckon?
Most of the time. I mean, most American action movies, bar maybe the Die Hard franchise, most of them, the hero is a character who is already in a position of power when the movie begins. They're a mercenary, they're an assassin, they're a soldier, they're a police officer, or something like that. Something like Die Hard takes that and puts it on its head, because he starts with no shoes, no gun, and basically his wits. And then he works his way throughout the characters. But something like Commando, you know, he just mows through all these characters with a machine gun for the whole movie. Predator is a good example of taking it on its head, because the characters are in a position of power the whole time, but the villain is in a position of much higher power than they are.
Yeah.
So you've got these commandos in the jungle.
Yeah.
And in a normal action movie, they'd be mowing through all the bad guys. But in Predator, which is half action, half horror, you have these archetypal action heroes, and you give them a villain that is considerably more powerful than them.
Well, I'm not sure, because like if you think about like Transformers, which is almost entirely action.
Yeah.
The whoever Shia LaBeouf plays, he's just a guy. He's just a dude,
He's not.
and then he meets
but
the Transformer.
But the Transformers are the heroes of those movies. Shia LaBeouf's a sidekick. Yeah. He doesn't do anything.
He's the protagonist.
He's the protagonist, but he's not the hero.
Eh.
It's a movie where the Shia LaBeouf's character is a sidekick protagonist.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg's character is much more of an active hero than Shia LaBeouf's is. Shia LaBeouf obviously gets more of an active role in the films as they progress, but he is still a sidekick to the Transformers because the central conflict is the Transformers.
Okay, so I suppose that Shia LaBeouf just serves as someone
can't
that you
kill
can,
the bad
you can
guy.
project yourself onto.
It is impossible for Shia LaBeouf's character to kill the bad guy.
He can't directly engage in the action.
No, he would be killed immediately.
He's just there for the audience to be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm the guy.
But with a Korean action movie, for example, the hero will begin at the very bottom, and it's just so gratifying to watch them work their way up. Hell, even in just a single action scene in a Jackie Chan movie, he will always begin the fight scene on the ground or handcuffed or something to give the villain the advantage, and then he will eventually work his way to having the advantage over the villain. And I feel like that's always more gratifying than, I mean, while John Wick is fucking amazing, watching him mow down villains with a gun isn't as satisfying as watching him fight someone hand to hand.
Does starting off as being like the chosen one or being like a predestined whatever, does that completely remove the whole working your way? Like Luke Skywalker, he's a farm boy. He owns nothing and he has to train, and eventually he becomes reverent and skilled.
See, Star Wars is a good example of the chosen one, right? Luke is a good chosen one because he doesn't believe himself to be the chosen one at the beginning, and we see him train. And the thing is, he's not perfect at the end of the movie. His winning in the first Star Wars movie is through his prowess as a pilot, rather than through his prowess as a Jedi.
Yeah.
Right? And then by the end of the third movie is when he is a proficient Jedi. And it's been like 6 or 8 years.
Yeah, well, I think that
Whereas Rey, for example, while not an awful character, is not a good example of a chosen one.
Because she's kind of fantastic at a lot of things.
Because she's kind of almost immediately a proficient with the lightsaber. I mean, I believe that she's good with the gun.
She holds her own in a fight with Kylo Ren, who's been training since he was whatever, who was trained by Luke Skywalker, who was trained by Yoda,
Exactly. I feel like that scene would have been much better if it were him versus Rey and Finn at the same time, rather than Rey and Finn one after the other.
Yeah, I suppose it could be. Like, if Kylo Ren was even more inexperienced, if he was, like, a little bit better than Rey in terms of his development, like, if they both just started training, I could see that maybe another Force-sensitive individual who's incompetent and just another dude might be challenging. But the fact that Kylo Ren is meant to be... Like, he toppled the latest Jedi Temple, and he went around the galaxy killing people on behalf of his master.
He's supposed to have been this, like, really good Jedi.
Finn should be nothing. He should kill Finn in half a second, and then, I don't know, do whatever he wants with Rey, because Rey's incompetent and Kylo is highly trained.
I like The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi just as movies. They're great movies on their own. They're not incredible Star Wars movies. And The Last Jedi is a weird movie for me because there are aspects of that movie I love, and there are aspects of that movie I loathe.
Yeah.
There are things that I think were missing potential. Like Benicio del Toro's character. Fuck him off. Get rid of him and replace him with Justin Trudeau's character. Not Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau.
Justin Theroux's character.
Yeah.
He's shown to have been the character they're looking for.
The space prime minister.
They should have just fucking asked him to help with them. And the twist would have been so much better if he was built up as this good guy and he then turns around and betrays them.
Yeah.
But Benicio del Toro's character, there is absolutely no tension when he eventually betrays them. Because he just looks like he's going to anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if they struck up a trade deal with Canada, then maybe they would have stood a chance against the First Order. Like, I don't know about the Canadian Army as much as I do about the American one, but I feel that if they had another large nation
Justin Trudeau defeats the First Order by putting on blackface.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, because
he convinces them that he's Darth Vader.
By blacking up and putting on a silly voice.
He pretends to be Mace Windu and he scares them all away.
He shaves his head and tries to
black
steal
man
the First Order's car.
Yeah.
They carjack Kylo Ren. They pull up next to them.
Okay, now you're being racist.
I'm being spacist. With a space gat, and they go, yo, get out of the car. And then Kylo Ren gets out, and then Kylo Ren gives him all of his space dollars from his space wallet.
Alright, man, I don't want no trouble. I want to see more Star Wars things that aren't part of the Skywalker saga. I'm actually, like, I'd be on board with more Star Wars based stories.
Like Baby Yoda, for example.
That are just kind of set in the universe. Because I like the universe of Star Wars and I would just like to see more. Especially considering they retconned the fucking expanded universe. So, you know.
I might like to see it later.
I really hope The Mandalorian gets a DVD release because I'm not getting Disney Plus.
Is it only a film or is it?
No, it's a TV show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I knew that I heard that it was going to be released on their streaming service.
I am looking forward to The Rise of Skywalker. I do think it looks good. And I'm excited to see what J.J. Abrams does, where he's been given the reins to ending something. Because...
Has he done that before?
Most of the time, a lot of shows that he's worked on, he just begins it and then leaves. And franchises including, like both of the Star Trek movies that he directed ended the exact same way.
Yeah.
They have the exact same ending. Right?
Yeah.
And it's not really an ending, it's a cliffhanger into a next movie, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting to find out with Rise of Skywalker, just to see what he does.
I just think about...
Did you just fart?
Yeah, it did. About Justin Trudeau pretending to be Mace Windu to scare the First Order. That's so stupid.
Well, Mace Windu is a scary character. He's a very good Jedi.
No, but I'm just imagine that you kind
and
of...
he's Samuel L. Jackson, so he'll just call them motherfucker and they'll scream.
I just thought that you were framing it as them being like...
Scared of him being black?
Yeah.
No, they're scared of him because he's Samuel L. Jackson, not because he's black.
Being like small-minded, like 1890s, like blazing saddles in space.
Have you, apart from stormtroopers, have you seen any black people in the First Order? I don't think so.
No, because they're all Kiwis.
No, they're not.
Okay, no.
The stormtroopers in the First Order are people.
They're all just space racists.
I don't think any of them are supposed to be clones. I'm pretty sure all the clones were wiped out during the original trilogy.
I heard that they had a shelf life that wasn't very good. Like they would accelerate to being 20-something and then die.
Your clones are very impressive. You must be very proud.
Do you reckon that the clones would intimidate people by doing the haka at the start of a battle?
I like to think that. Imagine this like huge army of clone troopers all doing the haka. You don't think that would be fucking scary?
I mean, it's intimidating enough when it's like 10 people on a rugby team.
Yeah.
How many people are on a rugby team?
I don't know.
But now imagine that
you probably know more about rugby than I do.
I don't know any. I don't know. There's like a brown team and a blue team.
Yeah, you know nothing about rugby, but you still probably know more about it than I do.
Very possibly.
Because you just follow sport.
No, I don't.
You follow football, don't you?
No.
You know teams.
You can name Richmond. And now imagine there's 20,000 of them and they're armed.
Yeah. And you can't see their face.
Oh no! The face is the scariest bit.
They take their helmet off, and they've all got the same face.
Oh,
that's scary.
They take the.
They're all Aquaman's dad.
They take their helmet off. They've all got the same face, and it's all you. It's
yeah, fucking like they're all doing the haka just to Boba Fett. I mean Jango Fett.
They go out and they find who their next enemy is going to be, and then they kidnap one of them and clone one of them. And then you go and you bring them out and they take their helmets off and they go, oh!
Yep.
And then they do the haka. They do a scary dance and they scream and then they shoot you. That's why the Republic was so successful.
Because of the haka.
Because of their dance troupe.
Yeah.
They've got a dance academy.
That's your official Star Wars theory. The reason why the Empire managed to take over the galaxy was because of the haka.
Yeah.
It's a solid theory.
Yeah, I mean, Camino is basically New Zealand, isn't it?
What? What's basically New Zealand?
Camino.
Camino. Okay, I didn't hear what you said.
Kimono.
Camino.
A Japanese dressing gown is basically New Zealand.
Camino. El Camino. That's the new Breaking Bad movie. That was very good.
Have
you seen Breaking Bad?
No.
You should. It's very good. Best TV show.
Is?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, tell me about...
So it's been a while since we did an episode, and the last episode we did was in mid-October. So Halloween has just come and gone. November has just come and gone.
Yeah.
And the only thing I uploaded in November was that one episode of Sketch Bros.
Who was on that?
On the first. Mafty, Jedi, and Bill.
Bill?
Yeah.
Bill Pullman?
No. It's funny, we're talking about Star Wars, and then I bring up my friend Jedi. His name is Jedi.
I mean, it's pretty rare if we ever talk about Star Wars. It's pretty...
We haven't talked about Star Wars in a while. Star Wars is coming out soon. That's why we're talking about Star Wars again. We'll probably do the next episode after Rise of Skywalker comes out.
Yeah, well, was it come out December what?
Boxing Day.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I would like to see it for the funny.
But because Halloween just kind of has come and gone, there's been a bunch of horror movies that I saw recently that are very good.
Dr. Speep?
Dr. Sleep, yeah, that's why I was bringing up Ewan McGregor. Dr. Sleep was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah?
I was really into it, and I can understand why some people wouldn't like it, but because it's very long and it's quite slow.
Yeah.
And some people may think that it's trying too hard to be a sequel to The Shining, but I think it was an adaptation of King's book before it was a sequel to Kubrick's film. Right. And so that's why I think it did well, because it wasn't trying too hard to be a Kubrick film. It was first and foremost a Flanagan film based on a King book. Right. Mike Flanagan's film is Mike Flanagan's film. It's not Mike Flanagan trying to be Stanley Kubrick. And I think that's why it works, because it's a movie that stands on its own while being a sequel to something that is good. Because The Shining is such a great movie, I think it would have been a bad idea to begin with if he tried to make it like a follow-up.
Yeah, to make it too comparable, so people are going and thinking, this isn't The Shining.
He does, and the homages, and like he recreates a few scenes and stuff, and he does a lot of homage to it, but he never tries to make a Kubrick film.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. And I loved the homages he did, the specific shot choices and set design and stuff. And I love that he didn't try to CGI recreate Jack Nicholson or Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
You know? He instead just cast actors who sound and look like them, which is cool.
Oh, okay.
The guy who plays Jack Nicholson's character in the flashbacks, he was the young boy in E.T.
Oh.
He's worked with Mike Flanagan quite a lot, so yeah.
Right. Is he also the kid who plays the kid in The Shining?
No.
Just think they've got a similar
face. The guy who plays Danny in The Shining doesn't act anymore.
Oh, okay.
The woman that they cast to play Wendy, she was like a dead ringer for Shelley Duvall. I actually thought that they had just got like voice lines of Shelley Duvall from the original movie.
Ah.
But no, this woman just like does a perfect impersonation of Wendy from the original movie, and she looks like her too.
You know.
I mean, obviously the costume and makeup and stuff helps to make them look like the characters, but the fact that they sound like them is cool. You
know what the solution is in order to like maximize, like giving the impression that you getting another actor in to be someone else, is if you find a lookalike, and then you get Peter Serafinowicz to dub them. And that'd be it. That's all you need.
Hi, I'm Derek Bum.
Kitchen gun.
I lose it whenever he says Derek Bum. Like I watch that. I can watch that sketch, and Derek Bum is the thing that makes me lose it. Not the kitchen gun itself. It's just the way he goes. Hi, I'm Derek Bum.
That's a great name.
Yeah, you could literally have like an intelligent comedy, but have a character called like Derek Bum, and it'll still be funny.
Well, isn't Toast of London like entirely that?
Yeah,
isn't just everyone's got a like stupid name.
Like Dr. Strangelove is a really intelligent satire of war, right?
Merc and Muffley.
But you have characters like Merc and Muffley and Lionel Mandrake. General Buck Turgidson.
Damn, Buck Turgidson. That was it.
Yeah. Brigadier General Jack D. Ripper. Colonel Bat Guano. Major King Kong.
I bet you that Sellers was responsible for most of that.
Oh, I mean, like, Kubrick's got a very good sense of humor. It's just that a lot of his movies are really dramatic, so you don't really see his sense of humor that much. But, like, there's a lot of funny shit in Full Metal Jacket. So, yeah. And I mean, like, you just look at, like, behind the scenes and certain, like, pictures and stuff, and you just know that, like, he was a funny guy, and he just, like, put all this seriousness into his movies. You know? And so, like, when you hear stories of, like, him torturing Shelley Duvall to give her a better performance, that's Stanley Kubrick the director, not Stanley Kubrick the guy.
Yeah.
Not Stanley Kubrick the father, Stanley Kubrick the Jew.
The jazz drummer.
The jazz drummer.
The jazz singer.
Stanley Kubrick the photographer, even, you know?
Director,
I like this.
photographer.
My favorite photo of Stanley Kubrick is the one where he's taking a photo of him and his daughter in the mirror of the bathroom, and Jack Nicholson is in the foreground, posing as if it's a picture of him, and he's out of focus while they're in focus in the mirror. That's just my favorite picture of Stanley Kubrick. It's just hilarious. Yeah. And I think Dr. Sleep was one of my favorite movies of the year.
A movie.
Yeah. Other movies I saw in cinemas, I saw Zombieland 2.
Was it funny to you? Like a clown? Does it
I
amuse you?
liked Zombieland 2. It wasn't as good as the first one, but I still liked it.
I thought it was, like, on par.
Yeah.
I didn't think that it was worse. I didn't come away thinking, like, wow, they stepped it up. But I think that it was about as funny. But actually, I think that...
I actually really like Zoe Deutsch's character, because...
Yeah.
A lot of blonde bimbos dressed in pink, they just come off as annoying.
Yeah, I was prepared for her to be a huge irritant.
Yeah, but I thought that the actress did a really good job.
Yeah, I can't explain why it is that I enjoyed...
Because she's a good actress, that's why. She managed to make the character annoying, but not annoying, you know what I mean?
I'd probably have to go back and watch it again.
It's like... That's how you do it. The best way to do an annoying character is a character that is an annoyance to the other characters, but not to the audience.
That's it. That is absolutely what I was about to spurt.
Because then they just impact your enjoyment of the film if they're too annoying.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because I suppose that a lot of the comedy from a character comes from the fact that she annoys the other characters, and therefore that produces, I don't know, conflict or whatever, and you can tell that they want to do something to her, and she's oblivious, because that's dramatic irony, but she's not so annoying to us that we don't want to listen to her.
Exactly.
But I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about what she's doing that makes her not annoying to me.
But then, like, other versions of the exact same character are.
Yeah, well, maybe... I suppose that as a trope, it's really easy to write someone who's a moron.
Yeah.
But she's not just a moron, she's funny.
But also, and the thing is, I think a lot of the time they just write them off as a one-note character. They're dumb, and that's it. But the thing is, she's dumb, but she's still trying, and she's still, like, semi-prepared for the apocalypse. Yeah, she lived in a freezer, but at least she did that instead of just getting eaten by zombies.
Very possibly. I think it's just that her character doesn't reek of low effort to me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that is a trait that annoys you when it feels like the writers didn't try because they thought the audience would consider it good enough.
A lot of the time, and I think it helps that a lot of the time that trope of a character is just really badly written. So it gives us low expectations for this character, and then when they are well written, we go like, wow, that was good job.
I was surprised. It was great.
And I think that makes way more interesting characters than for even comedy characters who make the right decision in everything.
Well, that's boring.
Yeah,
that's why Superman isn't interesting, because he's
Superman
invincible.
is interesting. It's when people just think of him as a fucking blue Boy Scout. That's when he's not interesting. So the Christopher Reeve movies, that's when he's not interesting.
Yeah.
But when you give him the conundrum of, with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. I know that's Spider-Man, but for lack of a better word, I'm just going to use that.
Yeah.
When you have Superman struggling with his own power, and when you have him struggling with the whole can't be everywhere at once thing, that's when he becomes a much more interesting character.
Well, yeah.
I don't understand why people want Superman to be the big blue Boy Scout beacon of hope that they want him to be, when it just makes for an uninteresting character.
I don't know, he's perhaps just as an idea of being an American institution. He's like, yeah,
maybe.
he's perfect. He's great. He's America.
Or maybe it's just because people don't like it when a movie has the name Zack Snyder attached to it.
Or I mean, with Superman, because he's kind of physically invincible apart from the, when he's exposed to kryptonite.
Yeah. Magic.
Yeah. Because there's not a lot of ways to fight him, the interest comes from conflict, and because he's not in danger in a lot of cases, you have to then play on something else. So, for example, Superman wants to help people. So if you introduce a scenario where he can't help everyone, that's where conflict comes from.
The best Superman stories are the ones where, rather than a fight where it's decided who can punch harder, it's a battle of wits. Yeah. That's why Lex Luthor is such a great villain for Superman. Because Superman could demolish his entire body in a single punch.
That would not be right.
I mean, there's obviously the whole Superman don't kill thing, but the fact that Lex Luthor does not pose a single physical threat to Superman, so he has to come up with intelligent ways to best Superman.
Yeah, it's to manipulate.
That's why I love his character in Batman v Superman, because he manipulates Superman and Batman into fighting each other. And that's where the conflict of the movie comes from. It would be a way less interesting movie if Batman and Superman just fought because they disagreed.
Yeah.
Because Lex Luthor manipulates the two of them, and Batman being one of the smartest characters in the DC universe, being manipulated by his rage for Superman and that being used to his disadvantage. That is what makes the central conflict of that movie so amazing.
Yeah, because Batman is spiteful. He's vengeful. The whole reason he becomes Batman is because his parents were victims of crime.
People forget about that. Batman is an angry, hate-filled character.
He's a prick.
Yes,
no one likes him.
He's also a calculated, cunning detective.
Yeah.
But I feel like when people talk about Batman v Superman, the Batman that they think of, they only think of the good bits of Batman. They never think about his flaws. Yeah. And that's why they don't like it when he kills. Even though in Batman v Superman, it's presented as a bad thing that he kills people. We're told, when Alfred says, we're criminals, Bruce says, we're criminals, Alfred. We've always been criminals. Right?
Yeah.
That's literally him saying to the audience, hey, we're not the good guys in this movie. Because I kill people.
Just because my name's in the title doesn't mean that I'm absolved of all wrongdoing.
And that's what makes the most interesting Batman stories is not just... Well, that's what makes the most interesting stories full stop, is not just who can punch harder. Yes, I mean, like, John Wick is amazing because it is just pure action catharsis.
Yeah.
But it's well structured and done in a good story that poses a moral dilemma to the main character of John. Right? His whole thing is that he wanted a quiet life, and now he's been forced back into a world that he left. Right? That's his moral dilemma. Does he keep diving deeper into the rabbit hole, or does he quit and just die? Yeah. So the main reason why he wants to survive now is to keep the memory of his late wife alive for himself. And so and I mean, most of the people he kills were gonna wind up dead anyway. That's literally like most of the grunts that he kills are disposable. That's their thing.
Probably considered to be at least within the context of the movie, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But...
Within the context of the movie, most of the grunts that John Wick disposes of throughout the action scenes, they were hired specifically to be disposable. That's the whole point of those henchmen.
Do you reckon that pays well to get shot
Probably.
in the face by the protagonist?
Yeah, no, they probably get paid really well. And if they have a family, the money would probably go to the family. It's not told because you don't pay attention to the faceless grunts that he shoots in the head and torso and every other body part. And that's why I'm really fucking annoyed that Justice League got cut up like that.
Well, stiff shit.
But there's been a really big growth in the Snyder Cut movement, which is really cool.
Yes, and Subway are going to provide sandwiches. So.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people just look at the Snyder Cut fans and just go, "Oh, they're angry people who just want a new cut of a movie," and they'll just harass Warner Brothers at any chance they get.
Want movie.
And I mean, that's one way of looking at it, but also the fact that they have raised heaps of money for suicide prevention and other charities, and now they just helped convince Subway to feed the homeless.
Yeah, nice.
The poor, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Literally, the only thing they just asked, hey, how many retweets for you to donate 10,000 sandwiches, and then have one tweet that says hashtag release the Snyder Cut. One tweet. And then all these sandwiches go to the poor. Nice. And then people will get angry at them because they went like, oh, they conned Subway into feeding the homeless just for their agenda. I'm like, yeah. And they fed the homeless.
Yeah.
Do you have a problem with that?
I would probably, trick a multinational $1 billion company to do societal good. That sounds good to me.
And hell, Subway even... Because of Subway's tweet, now other sandwich stores and other fast food restaurants are chiming in, responding with hashtag release the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, nice.
So now he has all these people who have no stake in the movie. They're not sponsors, they're not involved in the movie at all. And yet they're tweeting out release the Snyder Cut.
Because it's a meme.
And I'm like, I don't even know why Warner Brothers hasn't even talked about it, considering the people who were responsible for fucking up the movie aren't in charge of that part of Warner Brothers anymore.
Yeah, well.
But the whole thing is important because we need these movies to be more creator-driven. And that's the angle that DC has been taking with their movies, Aquaman onwards, is that they're creator-driven.
Yeah.
You know, Aquaman, Shazam, and Joker are the three movies that have come out post Justice League, and all three of them have been made by the director. You know, they are that director's movie. That director is proud of the movie that they got to make. And I think that's what they're going with the upcoming movies.
Well, I suppose that it's where we have that the stereotype of the executive crony who's sitting there with a cigar and going, you creators, and
it's proven time and time again that whenever an executive gets involved with changing things in the movie, that it's ruined. Executives never get involved in a movie that they think is going to do well.
Yeah.
Right? So whenever an executive gets involved in the movie, it's because they think it's not good. And often, the changes that they make to the movie make it worse. There's a good chance that Zack Snyder's version of the movie could end up not being a great movie, but it'll still be better than the fucking schlock they put in theaters.
Yeah, well, but it's like that quote, I think it was either Michael Eisner or Jerry Katzenberg. They say, we have no obligation to make art. We have an obligation to make money. And if we happen to make art, well, that's just a bonus. So if executives are concerned, this film greatly exceeds 90 minutes, this film is, potentially has problematic themes, this film is whatever, they will change it, because if people go and see the film thinking, oh, right, I'll go and see this 90-minute movie, it's about Batman, whatever, they get all that money, and it's only later that people go, oh, well, actually, that wasn't an artistic
Exactly.
segment.
That's what happens with Marvel movies.
If that film fades from existence, that's fine.
And that's what happens actually with most Disney movies. They're safe and they're general audience friendly. So when they come out, they get heaps of praise and awards, and then in retrospect, people are like, well, actually, that movie wasn't as good as everyone said it was.
Yep.
Then, of course, there are ones like Atlantis and Hercules and Treasure Planet and Mulan that weren't these huge things when they came out. And then in retrospect, people are like, wow, I wish I saw that movie in theaters and helped support this dying art form of 2D animation.
Yep. But I mean, as far as an executive is concerned, provenance and artistic merit doesn't inflate your stock value.
And that's why you make a movie like Joker on half the budget you would make a movie like Shazam. That's why Joker was a low budget, well, mid-budget movie.
Yeah.
It was at $55 million.
But I'm sure that there are some big budget movies that they want to make. Sometimes
And then it made $1 billion.
Yeah.
You know? Out of nowhere. This R-rated, mid-budget movie full of controversial themes and graphic violence and swearing and all the things that people don't like made $1 billion. Which shows people want more movies like that. They don't want just the baby shit that Disney makes. They want to be taken seriously and treated as adults.
Yep.
And these are the movies that the adults can go see when there's nothing to go see with their kids.
Yeah, but that's, I imagine that the Disney type, the Michael Eisner type, doesn't want to have... doesn't want to limit the audience in any way. They want to go, what's the maximal amount of audience that we can send? Consider this: you have the theatrical cut of a film. You take let's say it was originally 2 hours, 2 hours 30 minutes, 3 hours, and you lop an hour off of it to make it friendlier or less problematic to make it more profitable. The audience. You go and you do that, and you make millions and millions at the box office, right? Then. And you also don't alienate people by being too long or whatever. Lots of people go see it. Great, well done. Or you make it tamer so more people can see it.
Yeah.
Money. Then the DVD comes out. It's got the director's cut on it. People go, great. I wanted to see the original version of that. I want to know what the director really wanted to do. You go and you sell stacks of the DVD. It becomes a cult classic. Lots of people buy the DVD. So that's twice the profit that you can make, because not only do you can get more people seeing it in the movies, you then get more people that buy it because they go, oh, well, actually, the film was only all right, or I heard it was only okay. Yeah. I wonder what the original director's vision is. Great, I'll go and I'll get that. Yeah. And then it attains cult status and people buy shit. But nowadays, because people buy fewer DVDs because of streaming, I don't know whether there would be more money to be made if you licensed your movie to Netflix as a director's cut. Like, what incentive there would even be?
Actually, no. The opposite is true, because of the fact that if you make a director's cut Blu-ray exclusive, people will buy the Blu-ray because you can't get it anywhere else.
But will they? Will they be bothered, or will they just go?
Yeah, well, because the people who are going to buy the Blu-ray were people who were going to buy the Blu-ray anyway. People who were going to get the director's cut are people who are going to buy the Blu-ray anyway.
Okay, suppose.
But director's cuts are interesting because, one thing, they're definitely a more recent phenomenon from maybe mid-70s onwards, because that's around the time where people just, for some reason, stopped making super long epic films. Right? They stopped making their Ben-Hurs and their Cleopatras and stuff like that, right? You'd get films like Apocalypse Now, which was 2 hours and 40 minutes. You get stuff like, Braveheart and Once Upon a Time in America and stuff like that. Yeah. But while they were still acclaimed and box office successes and stuff, they're still shorter than the director's original vision, right? And so a director's cut is usually just a longer version of the movie, but every now and then you get movies like Blade Runner, Brazil, Batman v Superman, so Batman v Superman is a version where the director's cut was cut down for theatrical distribution. Oftentimes, a director's cut will be just a longer version of the theatrically released movie, adding scenes to a finished movie. But often, a theatrical cut will be a cut down version of the original movie, and the director's cut, the original intent.
Do we know about...
There's like two versions of a director's cut. There's the one where they've added stuff to it, and then there's the one where they've removed stuff in the theatrical cut.
Do we know about some of the things that all contributed towards like the sudden shift in the shorter film? Because I imagine that partly it was
money.
That people were concerned that the audience wouldn't go see a longer film, but is it also partly that if a film is shorter, you can show it more times?
Yes. That's literally the reason why they made Justice League 2 hours. You get more screenings a day. I think originally, when Zack Snyder was on board, his theatrical cut was going to be 2 hours and 50 minutes, right? which is long, but like fucking, it's not as long as, well, it's just about as long as The Hobbit or Avatar or even Watchmen. And so they just decided, we're too nervous to just let him finish this movie, so we're gonna pay extra money to fuck it up and make it 2 hours instead of just asking him to cut his movie down a little bit shorter, maybe 2.5 hours. And so his theatrical cut was probably going to be the 2-hour 50 version that was talked about and before they cut it to 2 hours.
Yeah.
But now his director's cut is 3.5 hours, which would have been, so say they released the 2-hour 50 minute version, then they would have released the 3.5 hour version on Blu-ray.
Right.
But now that 2-hour 50 version is gone.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist anymore. You've only got the 2-hour theatrical cut and the 3.5 hour director's cut. And that's that story.
In like when people started to shorten films because of the fears about money, etc.
I think a lot of the time, the reason why longer movies are becoming, nowadays they're actually becoming more common.
Yeah.
There's just been a sudden shift towards longer movies now.
Because you can watch them from home. People are used to binging things for hours.
Exactly.
So yeah.
But there was this big gap in really long movies because of the fact that TV was becoming a lot more serialized. So you get really long shows that tell one continuous story. Yeah. Often even a mini series. Yeah. And so sometimes something that's like a really long book that in the 50s would have been turned into a 4-hour movie, then instead get turned into a 6-hour TV series.
Yeah, so if you had a long form story, it was a show, and if you had something that could be told in an hour and 30, then you'd do it as a movie.
Yeah.
Now,
but there are still exceptions, because, I mean, the way a show is structured is different to the way a movie is structured. So you can have a TV show that is 3.5 hours in length, and you have a movie that is 3.5 hours in length. They are made to be those specific forms. The show is made to be a show, and the movie's made to be a movie. Yeah. You can't split that movie up into a mini-series because you're breaking it up into a way that it wasn't meant to be seen. Yeah. And to a way that ruins the structure of the movie. The Irishman wouldn't work as well if they cut up the movie into a mini-series.
Well, because you'd have to shoot, 10 different cliffhangers to insert in there, and 10 different intros to...
But then, it does work the other way around. Something like Russian Doll would work if you cut a few little scenes out and made it just a 3-hour movie, right? Yeah. But it works really well as a TV show because of the way that it's structured. Right. It works much better as a show than it would as a movie because of the way that the episodes are split, right? And then this, but yeah, often a really long movie can sometimes be edited into a TV show and work. Fanny and Alexander is a version where there's two versions. There's the 3-hour movie and there's the 5-hour miniseries. I think I'm done talking about director's cuts and stuff like that. We saw The Irishman.
We did. It was good.
Yeah, we went out of our way to go see The Irishman in cinemas.
We did!
Well, because I really wanted to go see The Irishman in cinemas because it's a Martin Scorsese movie and it should be seen in cinemas.
I mean, if I wasn't going to work that day and having a supervisory shift, then yeah, I probably would have just said, alright, well, I would have gone and seen the movies. But now I'm thinking, alright, given what ended up happening, I could have watched it at home and been fine with it.
Yeah. Well, see, I feel like that's the kind of movie if I watched it at home, I probably would have been a lot more bored at home than I would have been if I went to see it in cinemas. Because there's something different about watching a movie in the theater than there is to watching it in your own home. Yeah. One thing, you're not supposed to take out your phone when you're in the cinema.
No.
And when you're watching a movie by yourself at home, if it's boring, just kind of.
But The Irishman wasn't, so.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very certain that if I watched it again at home, I would be riveted enough to not want to take out my phone and look at things.
I'd like to watch it again
more often than not, if I know that I'm going to like a movie, I will leave my phone in the other room.
So when you watched this movie, or before you watched this movie, did you know like what it was about and the sorts of organizations and people that were going to be referenced to?
I just knew that it was about Jimmy Hoffa, and it was about well, no, it wasn't about Jimmy Hoffa. It was about a guy associated with Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah, a guy who claims to have...
I'll bleep that out because spoilers. No, I didn't know exactly what the movie was about. I just knew that it was the new crime epic, the new mafia epic from Martin Scorsese, the man who made fucking Goodfellas. So if the man who made Goodfellas makes another mafia movie, you're damn sure I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah,
because it's gonna be amazing.
Because like when I was watching it, I had to learn like the kind of organizations and people that they were talking about, and the different family names and who was friends with who, But
I think the movie did a really good job of explaining everything.
Like, I ended up figuring it out, but, like, I didn't know who Jimmy Hoffa was. I didn't know about, like, the different crime families and things. I wasn't going to go, oh, yeah, I know the Buffalinos.
That's one of the themes of the movie, is the whole, this being an era of stuff that people don't know about. So the main character is literally, like, trying to inform the audience about this stuff.
I mean, yeah, I figured it out eventually, but yeah, I didn't know who Jimmy Hoffa was. I didn't know who the Teamsters were, or or their historical relevance. It was explained, but I think that after a second viewing, or like after doing some reading about it and then watching it again, I would probably, because instead of expending energy going, who's this guy?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I can go, all right, well, I know what this is. I can enjoy, I don't know, the tension or the subtext or whatever it is. Yeah. Instead of trying to figure out, like, who are you?
Well, yeah, and because it's the longest movie, because it's such a long movie, obviously sometimes one would think that your attention may fade throughout, but mine never did.
No, I was constantly paying attention to what was going on.
I was constantly involved in the movie, and which is saying something, because sometimes in a really long movie, there will always be at least some point that kind of dulls it down a bit, but I never found that for me. Even in the last like section of the movie, even when it was slowing down and it was a lot more depressing, I was still really engaged.
I feel like I had to pay close attention, otherwise I would lose.
But I'm not just talking about paying attention to the stuff that's going on. I'm just talking about being engaged by the emotional and filmmaking prowess that is on display.
Like, I wanted to
Martin
constantly...
Scorsese is one of, if not the greatest American filmmaker of all time. So,
well, yeah, but because it was so engaging, and because the plot was, at least to me, a little involved or a little convoluted, I thought, well, in order for me to get the maximal enjoyment out of it, I need to know what's happening. And if I miss it, then someone else is going to be like, yeah, and so the Rafa Fulzios, they stepped onto our territory, and I'll go, what the fuck is that?
And it never, and the amazing thing about the information is that it never felt boring.
No, I didn't think it was dull.
It didn't feel like you had an obligation to pay attention.
No, I wasn't struggling to be like, all right, yeah, finish up, because all of the conversations, because of how indirect and how euphemized the language was.
I heard you paint houses.
Yeah, like, I heard you paint houses is a phrase which doesn't mean, hey, I hear that, that you like to spread color around. It's like, hey, I hear that you'll acceptably murder people for money. And so when you're like, oh yeah, no, I want you to take care of him, or like, I want you to go and see this person. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean see them?
It is what it is.
Yeah. Which basically means this person dies and you cannot help it. Yeah. It's not like, hey, pistachio's my favorite. I'm sorry, you can't convince me. It's, yeah, well, there's an organization which means we have to shoot your friend in the fucking head. That's it. You have to go to his house and put a bullet in his brain. Yeah. But they don't say that. So there's always, and you think it might mean that, but sometimes a spade is a spade. But other times a spade is a gun.
I think that's one of the things that makes it so engaging is the fact that you're questioning almost every line of dialogue in the movie. Yeah. And which just makes it more engaging because you want to pay attention. Yeah. Because you're like, It makes it less hard for you to want to pay attention because you're like paying attention to everything to be like, what did he say? Did he mean what he said?
Yeah, what are you getting at?
Yeah.
Because everyone is heavily implying to the other characters that, something's going to go down.
Yeah.
And sometimes characters listen, and sometimes they just go, look, hey, forget about it. Hey, nobody tells me what to do.
Yeah, and every line of dialogue is strategically placed where it is so that you won't lose attention, Yeah. Every edit is... And that's the amazing thing about Martin Scorsese's films is that since, I think... I don't know if it was Mean Streets or the movie he made after Mean Streets, but since, the 70s, he's been working with editor Thelma Schoonmaker.
Yeah.
And they've been working on every single film that he's directed. And that's why his films, they have this rhythm, because he and his editor, they work so well together. And they make just these perfectly edited films. And it's not the same edit every time. Every movie is edited to the way that it should be. To the way that it has its own rhythm. So something like Silence, which is this meditative religious epic, has slow cuts and it's a lot longer and everything is painterly brush strokes and everything. And then you have a movie like The Departed where everything is cut. This thing and this thing, they weren't actually in the same place. There's no continuity between shots, and yet and you don't care because you're paying attention to everything and everything's being thrown at you immediately. And yet because they're so different, it works,
Sometimes people think editing is good if you can see it. Sometimes editing is good if you can't see it.
Editing is usually best if you don't notice it, but there are certain moments where it's got much more of an impact if you do notice it. Something like a smash cut, like in the Clockwork Orange when he bashes in that woman's head with the giant ceramic penis and it does the smash cut to her artwork.
Yeah,
it's a noticeable editing, and it has much more of an impact than it would if it just kind of cut away.
Bonk.
Yeah.
Bonk. So yeah, it was a good movie. Go see it.
Yeah. Well, now it's on Netflix, so you can go see it right after you listen to this podcast.
Listen to this fucking 2-hour long podcast and then go and watch a 3.5 hour long movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with this episode being longer than usual because it's been fucking almost 2 months since the last episode. So
it's longer than usual.
My dick. That is humorous.
Yes.
That is top notch.
You know why that was so funny?
That is artwork.
Because I was gonna say me.
You know what's a really good movie? Bad Boys 2.
Is it?
It's so bad that it transcends being bad and becomes a masterpiece.
Is it actually bad, or is it just schlock? Is it just silly?
No, it is silly, but it's just so...
Say bad.
Not bad. It's competently made, right? Yeah. But then everything about it is just so awful and disgusting and disturbing that it transcends being a good or bad movie, and it's just a fucking experience.
Yo, my G, that's
the first movie is just a fun, serviceable action movie, but the second one is this transcendental fucking orgy of awfulness.
Why?
Because every person in that movie is an awful human being times 10.
Oh.
And everything about it is just god awful that you forget that it's awful. And it just becomes this fucking amazingly hilarious and stupid and magnificent action movie.
Alright, well now you've intrigued me.
Yeah.
Now you've aroused me.
And it's even better when you watch them back to back like I did with my dad.
My dad!
I'm not excited for the third one though because it's not made by Michael Bay, so it's not going to be nearly the levels of ridiculousness that the first two were.
It's going to be pretty Michael Gay.
But he has a movie coming out on Netflix soon with fucking Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah?
From the writers of Deadpool and Zombieland and Venom.
Yeah.
And so you know that the writing's not going to be awful, at least, because he's not writing it.
No.
And it's because it's Netflix, you know that he's been given full creative freedom, so he's going to just go all out fucking full Michael Bay. Because he probably wasn't given maybe the freedom he wanted with the last Transformers movie. I find it incredibly telling that directors are now moving to Netflix to make the movies because the studios are too afraid to make them.
Yeah.
That's the reason why The Irishman was made on Netflix instead of for the theaters. It's the reason why Zack Snyder and Michael Bay are making their next movies on Netflix.
Yeah.
I think Charlie Kaufman's next movie's on fucking Netflix.
Yeah, because Netflix is basically saying, hey, look, we'll give you money to do whatever. Go for it.
Yeah, we know that whatever you make will make money back because we'll be able to put it on the front page and heaps of people will watch it because it's on the front page.
We don't have to worry about like paying money for distribution of this film. We don't have to like give it to physical places. We've just got it on our server.
And sometimes if the movie's good enough or if it's like a specific agreement, the movie will get a physical release.
It's like Spotify or SoundCloud.
I reckon
worry about, like,
there's a good chance that The Irishman will probably get a DVD on Blu-ray release just because it's a Martin Scorsese movie.
Well, people like that. People still like to have physical things to put on their shelf.
Yeah. And I think when it is a movie like The Irishman, it's more likely to get one because it's from Martin Scorsese. You know, something like Mute, where the director wants the movie to get a physical release, but it was poorly received. And he's not like, you know, a super really well-known director. It's not really going to get the DVD distribution he wants. So he'll settle for, you know, the huge market that Netflix allows the film. You know?
If you're thinking about a career in movies,
I am surprised.
This is not the quest for you.
I'm surprised that they haven't released Stranger Things on DVD. It just seems like the kind of show that they would.
Maybe
they did with House of Cards and Lost in Space and Orange Is the New Black and a few other shows.
They should release it on Betamax and with a cassette soundtrack.
That would be awesome, and people would buy that.
Because you fucking hipsters at Creamy Jeans over that, wouldn't you?
I wish I was able to get a limited edition VHS copy of the movie VHS. Because you can't get it anymore, obviously. And I just think it would have been a really cool addition to my collection. I would love, if my life goes the way I would love for it to go, and I become a filmmaker and I get to make my Hotline Miami movies, I would absolutely love to release them limited edition on a Laserdisc.
Do you want to...
Or VHS, but Laserdisc is more in the time period.
You know what would be the absolute peak of your career? If you could appear in a YouTube ad for Masterclass and say, "Hi, I'm Nick Owens. If you're thinking about a career in making movies, this quest is not for you."
I'll close the episode. I'll close this episode with my Masterclass ad.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to know how to get a big dick. Hey everyone, it's me, Nick Owens. I'm here to teach you how to close a podcast. This is my Masterclass edition. What you got to do is you got to get a bit closer up to the microphone. You got to say things in order to kind of close off the episode. Maybe sometimes you could make it a bit relevant. So something like, "Hey, this episode was really long, much like a lot of the films that we had been discussing. So let's put it to an end right now. Let's cut. Let's cut the episode down, and then you have to generally either you can do this or you can do it through an automated intro. You can." Maybe sometimes you can shill your fucking social. You can talk about your social media, tell the audience where they can find you in other places. So, Ben?
I'm Martin Scorsese. Fuck you.
And that was this episode of the Temporary Uncles podcast. Ironic that an episode discussing movies cut for length was itself cut for length. Follow us on Twitter at Tempuncles, email us at tempuncles@gmail.com, and good night, sleep tight. I will give you a big hug and kiss before you go to bed.